Today we will be going over the Tuskegee Airmen. The U.S. Army Air Corps set up a civilian pilot training program in 1939. This program was meant to train civilians as backup pilots in case of a national emergency. At first, the program excluded African American pilots, but with the pressure from civil rights leaders, the program was extended to later include African Americans. The Tuskegee Institute, located in Tuskegee, Alabama, was picked as one of only 8 schools to offer CPT training to African American pilots. The first class of African American CPT pilots graduated the program in May of 1940. The picture you see now is a picture of that first class. Following the success of the CPT program at the Tuskegee Institute, the U.S. Army Air Corps set up the Tuskegee Experience, which ran from 1941 to 1949. The goal of this was to train African Americans to serve as combat pilots and as ground crew during World War II. Following the success of both the Tuskegee Experience and the CPT program, the area quickly became the center for African American aviation. It was this boom that caused the U.S. military to set up the Tuskegee Army Airfield. The goal of this base was to further the training of African American pilots and prepare them for active duty abroad. After training, the Tuskegee Army Air Base concluded the African American pilots were put into the 332nd Fighter Group and split among the 4 squadrons. The group started out flying missions to protect Mediterranean shipping and other roles behind the front lines. But when the bomber casualties began to soar, the Army decided to give the 332nd their first frontline assignment of bomber escort. It is with this new assignment that the 332nd Fighter Group became famous and a symbol for civil rights activists back on the home front. At first, the bomber crews were very wary of the African American pilots, but as they flew more escort missions, the bomber crews quickly found out that the Tuskegee Airmen were reliable escorts, and the bomber groups began to request these red tails, as they became known, due to their distinctive paint jobs as their escorts on air raids of Central Europe. In the picture, you can see a P-51 Mustang with the distinctive red tail alongside a B-25 bomber. It was because of this reliability that the Tuskegee Airmen became famous among bomber groups, and their combat record shows this, as on only 7 of their 179 missions did any bombers go down due to enemy fighters. The Tuskegee Airmen were also among some of the first American pilots to face and defeat the German Me-262 jet fighters. After the war concluded in 1945, the 332nd Fighter Group remained active in American-occupied Europe until 1947, when they replaced the 477th at Lockbourne Army Air Base in Ohio. Then, when in September of 1947, the U.S. Air Force replaced the Army Air Corps, and the 332nd became the only active African-American fighter group in the newly formed Air Force. In 1949, when the Army desegregated, the 332nd was taken out of active duty, and the members were reassigned into other groups that were previously white-only fighter groups. Even though the 332nd was disbanded, the very existence of it helped to break down race walls in the military and other parts of society, as the brave men who flew for them became heroes at home and abroad.